Okay. No preparation. No rehearsal. Here we go. Welcome to the Space Limited Accomplishments Interval. Meaning, the supposed meaning behind the title of the show is the interval between when I used to do the show alone and when I will one day do it again. So this is while Bonnie has to drive me to work because of my ongoing seizure issues. So I'm Lance Ash, and beside me at the driver's seat is my wife Bonnie.
Hello.
And going back to work after a 3-day weekend, had a very exciting end to last week. Wednesday night, Thursday morning, early hours of Thursday morning. I had some kind of spell at work. I suddenly realized that I was all confused. I kept trying to figure out, what time is it now? What time did you get here? How many hours has it been since you went on your last break? How many hours will it be till you go to your next break? What time? I couldn't figure anything out, and then I realized, you must be, like some sort of pre-seizure state or something. I think we need to distinguish between auras, which are a distinctive feeling you have before a seizure, and petit mal and grand mal. I think a grand mal is when you pass out, you're unconscious, and a petit mal is when you're conscious because you're walking around, but you're just in some sort of fog. So, I went walking around to find my supervisor and tell her that she needed to keep an eye on me so I don't pass out and hit my head with the floor, hit the floor of my head. And so on the way home, I told Bonnie, she says, "Well, you need to call in." And no, it must have been, what day was that? Because I already had Thursday night off for the appointment. Anyway, so no, that's right. 3-day weekend. Anyway, so she told me to call in sick. So, and it turned out to be a good thing because we're going home Thursday morning, and I had a full-blown seizure in the car. And we were listening to Cream's Greatest Hits, and I'm going, this one's good, and I'm punching up the number, going to the next song, and all of a sudden, music's off, CD's out of my hand. What happened? Oh, you had a seizure, and I had to pull off the side of the road and pull your head back. Oh, I see. No memory of it coming on or happening or anything. Pretty scary. So, any comments to throw in?
Well, your little notebook. What did you notice about your notebook after your walking seizure?
I went to brag. I don't know what happened. I keep a little notebook with me for ideas and stuff to write down. Way of keeping my mind occupied while I'm at work. And I noticed I'd written an entry that I didn't remember putting in there. And that was odd.
Okay, so, you just basically had a walking seizure. It's, seizure light. You didn't have any warning signs of it. You continue to function in some form or capacity that you stayed upright and were probably moving around and not standing still because you didn't get anyone's attention. You have no way of knowing how long this lasted.
It lasted about 15-20 minutes, I'd say.
If it lasted that long, then we should have gone in and gotten you a scan that day.
Well, it was very gradual, gradual going into it and gradual coming out. So,
Well, the seizure may have been just a minute or two. You may have had a moment before.
Yeah, it could be. Could be when
you don't remember because, seizures, short circuit your memory, short circuit your brain, short circuit you. And then afterwards, you have what's called a post-ictal phase. And there's a lot of confusion involved in that. And when I have dealt with you in your post-ictal phase, you will oftentimes come to several times during this phase, repeatedly ask, what happened? Did I have a seizure? And then I say yes. And then a moment later you go, what happened? Did I have a seizure? Yes. So the post-ictal phase is oftentimes a lot longer for you than the seizure itself.
And I'll tell you something else. For a couple of hours afterwards, I'll feel weak. The rest of that night, I felt so out of it and weak. I went and ate something, and I felt a lot better after I ate something.
Well, next time that happens, even with one of these small seizures, then you need to call me and have me come pick you up. It's very possible that you're staying at work, continuing to wear yourself out, stress yourself out, may have very well led to the second seizure several hours later on the way home. We were about 30 minutes from home. We'd been on the road for 45 minutes at that point. And Lance slumped over. We talk a lot and sing a lot of music, so I notice when he's out of the loop. And you had slumped over, and I touched you and you were stiff. And I just put on the hazards and pulled off the road, because when you slumped over, you have a tendency to press your chin down. And I always want to make certain that your air passage is clear, that you don't suffer from positional asphyxia or something. So I came around to your side of the car. I leaned the seat back and managed to get you to lean back some. And finally, after about a minute or so, you came out of the firm, tense portion of it. And then you began to loosen up a little bit, and I was able to lift your head and recline you a little bit. And your eyes were fixed. They were almost glazed over, and it was like deer caught in headlights kind of expression. And they were wide open. And that's something that was different from other seizures you've had before. And you came around after just 2 or 3 minutes that you were able to determine that, you'd had a seizure, and then to remember it. So it was short, and it was an atonic seizure. You didn't have any spasms, but you were stiff.
Yeah, so anyway, turned into a 3-day weekend.
4-day. Wasn't it?
No, it was just 3-day weekend. Right? Or was it 4 days? No, it was a 3-day weekend because...
3-day weekend. Last week was your appointment.
Right, last week was a 4-day weekend.
Next week is your
right.
MRI.
Right, and this upcoming weekend will be 3-day.
Yeah,
but
so
anyway,
it's another 3-day weekend.
But anyway, turned into a really good weekend because we got so much done. We did some yard work and cleaned out all these weeds and little trees that started to grow up against the foundation of the house.
Yeah.
Just did a little bit at a time, 5-10 minutes. And that's what we're going to do every weekend. Just 5-10 minutes, clear some stuff out, and eventually start repossessing the property because we've just let it go. We don't have time to do what we used to do.
We've both been so sick. It's been beyond us to do anything. We're basically able to keep the inside of the house and ourselves going, but the outside wasn't a priority for us at all.
When the kids were little, we used to keep a little area outside clear so they'd have a place to play outside. But now that they're grown, we just don't care about that sort of thing. Just keep the grass cut, basically, and then all this other crap. Anyway, we got that done, and
I started cleaning the porch off. It's a major job. It hasn't been cleaned in like 2 or 3 years. And the siding has that green buildup. So I started cleaning that today, too. And it was thick, and it's going to take a couple scrubbings to get through that.
I finished the latest issue of Lamp Clouding and posted it online. And
How many things went into it? 64?
It's well, that's the Yeah, it's 64 pages every time. Whether that will change in the future, I don't know. I'm trying to keep up the pretense that it's a real magazine, meaning the page numeration is some multiple of 8. And so did that, and it turned really good. There's about a third of it, maybe, is works of gestural abstraction, which I was obsessed with since January, and I think that's over with. This next issue is going to be much more planned out. I'm moving into a new narrative. And what else did I do? Tried beginning to write a new song. Let's see how that goes. I want to be a little more happy with my songs, a little more Shel Silverstein-ish with the lyrics. Funny, silly, trivial. Not this serious, autobiographical, my childhood sucked shit. And we watched Young Morse quite a bit. Endeavor. And
ooh, we had roast vegetables again. That was good.
Yeah, every time I ate this weekend, I just would get stuffed immediately. And
we had croissants this weekend.
They weren't very
good.
good.
And we had biscuits. And what else? We had burgers and onion rings. Veggie burgers.
Yeah, apple pie.
Apple pie, yeah. Did you have apple pie with ice cream?
No, I
can't eat ice cream anymore.
I just don't. I'm trying to cut back on my calories and my fat intake, so I know I didn't have any. Ice cream's a special treat. It's got to be a treat. It can't be just something you eat all the time.
I agree. Of course, I can't eat ice cream anymore.
What else should I eat? Oh, I had ramen with doenjang, which is kind of like miso. It's the Korean...
Fermented bean paste, yeah?
It's fermented soybean paste. It's very much like the Japanese miso, but it's from Korea. But it's a little more... It's got more texture. And, I don't know. I went through a phase where I was eating miso, having miso soup. But I find the doenjang is a little more flexible. You can... Certainly gochujang is more flexible. You can do more things with it. But I want to get more into this kind of stuff.
I want to try that mix of the doenjang and the gochujang with the sesame oil and the garlic and the chilies and stuff. What was that called?
Samsang or something like that.
Yeah.
Samjang, something.
It sounds like it'd be really easy for us to make.
Well, not only that, but I want to eat it. I want to eat it a vegetarian version where you'd have the leaf wrap and some not meat, but some sort of like maybe grilled eggplant or grilled something to slap in there with the samsang and.
What do they usually have it with?
Like a little piece of meat.
Oh.
Yeah, like I guess maybe.
What type of leaf is it?
Well, it's either lettuce or this stuff called I can't remember. I clicked on the picture of it and it was it's a very unusual looking plant, and it's a edible leaf widely used through Eastern Asia. Yeah, a lot of these things I want to try. We need to have like go up to Atlanta on a whole week off and look into this stuff. Have a list of things to look into. The Buford Highway Farmers Market has a big Asian section, and they have all kinds of stuff. Many different brands of gochujang and all this stuff. And so. Which reminds me, we were in there one day and they had a TV set up to play advertisements, and they had an ad, I think it was a Japanese ad, for a rice cake. And this guy, in the ad, it was a guy sitting down to eat one of these rice cakes, and the look on his face of absolute bliss and delight in every bite reminded me of my dad when he eats something he really, really likes. And I've been trying to find this ad and I couldn't find it, but it was really cool. It turned out to be a pretty good week. What?
Another thing we need to get when we go to Beaufort is Dutch licorice, not the salty.
Right, yeah. Ever since many, many years ago, I read an article about licorice, and they're like, you think you know what licorice is, but the American licorice is nothing compared to European, especially Dutch. This stuff is so rich with licorice flavor, it turns your tongue black. Ever since then, I've been trying to find something that does that. And every time we've gotten some licorice from the Netherlands, or well, I guess that's about it. But anyway, it's not the same. It's either not sweet enough or it's not.
It's too hard sometimes.
Too hard.
The little houses are always too hard.
It's just, I don't want something.
We're going to have to try different ones. We usually get the little bitty miniature packages, but we need to get some of the branded ones from the Netherlands. That, like, you know.
We'll see. We'll see what we can find. Hazardous materials unit, it said.
Oh, they use that for gas spills also. Fire truck just passed.
Yeah, some kind of emergency vehicle. Oh my goodness, I think I'm done with Bill Maher for sure this time.
I don't even.
I thought I was
not watching. I'm not watching.
I thought I was done with him last time, but I saw something and I can't remember what he said, but it just turned me off so bad. Oh, I know what it was. He was carping about the 2008 bailout. He was talking about we need more fiscal responsibility in government. I thought he was broadly speaking on the left side of the political page. I don't know where he stands. But he was bitching about how, everybody raised such a fuss about how much money we were spending to bail out the banks and stuff in 2008, and now we're spending almost 4 times as much on the COVID package. Where does the money come from? Who gives a fuck, Bill? Money's an abstract concept. It doesn't have any basis in reality. And second of all, when they spent that money, they were using it to bail out big business. This package is to to help out individual human beings.
People are more likely to go and spend that money on things that will stimulate the economy.
Exactly.
When Trump's huge tax cut a year into his administration took effect, all of these corporations got these huge tax breaks. Very few of them turned around and reinvested in their own companies, in the employees, etc. Rather, what they did was huge stock buybacks of their own stocks, and they artificially inflated the value of their own stocks. They shored up their own companies. And it used to be, back in the 90s, that this was illegal, but then they changed the law that allowed you to buy up your own stock to artificially inflate things. And that's one of the things that needs to be dealt with. But yeah, when money goes into an individual's hands, it stimulates the economy. And you see that on a small scale every paycheck weekend. First of the month, when Social Security checks come through, all the stores are extremely busy. That's when all the big surges happen. Another thing that happens is you have a lot of car sales that happen in the springtime because people will get their tax refund checks. The wind is blowing the car sideways. I gotta slow down. And, whoa. People are paying off debt, and people are using this money for savings. We got, $2,800 and $2,500 went into savings. And it just, it's going to be there for the next emergency. But we did pay off some stuff with that other remaining amount, and we'll have something for the next time something bad happens.
Yeah, when the rich people get their tax cut, meaning basically revenue from the government, they stick it in their pocket. Or they buy something that doesn't help the economy, it helps a very niche, like the yacht builders of America or some shit. When your average person gets it, they go down to Walmart and buy an extra frozen pizza.
We did allow ourselves to go out to eat. We don't normally go out to eat. It's a rare thing. We're like, birthdays and anniversaries kind of people for going out to eat, especially now with the pandemic. And we went out to eat 3 times. So that was money that went straight into things. But again,
but those restaurants were run by Mexicans, Bonnie.
Fuck that attitude. Oh, Lord.
Can you imagine if we had a North American Union, like the European Union?
Oh, our son works at a business where they're making their quarterly bonuses because this last couple of weeks people have been spending money. And those sales have come in because of tax refunds coming back and now the stimulus. And so he's going to get an extra week's pay. It means 20 hours because he's half-time now. And our daughter's store has been really busy because of this. And it's just been busy all around. People have been buying stuff. And another thing that's going on right now is Amazon has delayed shipping. Upwards of 5 days instead of the usual 2-day shipping, because so many people are buying so much stuff because of the stimulus money. So, fuck Bill Maher.
Yeah, I'm tired of all this shit. I used to not. I try to, watching narrative television, like whatever, usually doesn't get to me, but this Endeavor show is so good, even when it's silly. A lot of the plots are just too contrived and too coincidental, and the murder plots are too convoluted.
Strange references.
This prostitute or good time girl gets gang raped, and so she creates this elaborate plot to get revenge on these people.
Based on women in the Bible getting revenge or killing men.
But more than that,
Woo-hoo.
She doesn't know their names. She just remembers what their voices sounded like.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Anyway, but it's still well done, and I like the way the character of Morse evolves over time. He's fresh-faced and young, and then when he gets a little taste of advancement, he gets a little more grumpy, a little more snappy with the underlings, which I think
then he gets jaded.
Yeah. All right, so I think we've reached. We've reached the end of the show.
7.
So, all right, I guess that's it. Okay, bye-bye.